Ah, yeah. It's nice, man. Feels good. Got my sunglasses on that I forgot earlier. Got a little bit of Lacan, Lamanog. Some of the finest vodka style alcohol you can buy for any amount of money. Oh, yeah. It's a good day. Got my sweet pea. Come here. Yeah. And everything is good. Everything is good. Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another couch vlog coming at you, of course, from my condo in Sterling, Virginia. And today on the couch vlog is a bit of a follow-up to the moto video I made earlier. This would be part 3. I've had a little bit of time now. Let me keep my hand in the frame. I've had a little bit of time now to reflect upon the things I said in part 1 and part 2, and I think maybe I'm going to go ahead and add a couple things and maybe clarify a couple things. So, my history with the bike, I can't give exact dates and miles because, again, I haven't gone and looked at the title yet. I know where it is. I just I've been busy and I haven't looked at it yet. Oh, sweet pea, licking me, no licking. So, I can tell you when I bought the bike, my intention for the bike was to use it on the racetrack. And I went out and I did a number of track days. I don't know the exact number, but it's something like 15 to 20, maybe more. I'm going to say 20 track days on the bike. I did my first track day on that bike, and then I did like the California Superbike School 2-day camp, which was very successful for me. There's opinion, just to go on a tangent, opinions are split on the 2-day camp for California Superbike School. But for me, it was a good learning experience considering I kind of knew what I was getting into at that time and everything like that. I went back and I did a bunch more track days on my R6. I also rode I rode a demo R6 on the track for one session, which was pretty cool. You can see a YouTube video of that somewhere on my channel. I also rode my buddy's KTM RC390 for a day, which was really cool. So all in all, that's a whole lot of track days. I probably did in total about 23 days on the track, which is really cool. But unfortunately for me, I've gotten a bit older and my financial situation has changed and my life situation has changed, and devoting the amount of time and money to track riding is just not something I'm too interested in at this point in time. Especially considering I was getting close to probably going into wanting to, not getting in, but attempting to get into the advanced group, which for me meant, especially on my R6, better suspension and better tires. So I was going to think about, putting slick racing tires on the R6. And of course, when you put slick racing tires on a bike, especially an older bike that has had a lot of miles on it, you really want to stiffen up that suspension to compensate for the softness and the low pressures in the tires. It also doesn't help that I'm pretty big. I've gained some weight, a lot of weight, since I started riding the R6, and the suspension just isn't working for me at high speeds. Now, when I was riding it around today, it felt fine. It felt great. Over bumps, it feels really plush. One thing I forgot to mention in the video is I have Racetech Gold Valve emulators in there. That really helps with the fast bump, like really big bumps and stuff. So that's nice. It also provides a small benefit to slow bump, but it really, fast bump is where it's at. Oh, sweet pea. Anyways, so to continue with that, so I've kind of lost the main reason I own the bike. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the philosophy of using a race bike, or it's not a race bike, but an R6 is essentially a racing machine that has been softened up for the road, so to speak. So the red line is a little lower than it could be. The suspension is softer than it needs to be. The brakes are not as big as they could be. Things like that have been changed in order to make the bike, one, more economical to purchase, and two, softer so that it complies better on bumpy and, just bad roads. But you still have something that is like 80, 90% there as a racing vehicle. And living with that on the streets is kind of a strange thing for me. And this is one of the main reasons I want to get rid of the bike. I wouldn't say get rid of the bike. This is one of the main reasons I'm considering selling this bike over any of my other bikes. And that is because the bike is very two-faced. Depending on your mood and your ego and what you do with the bike has a split personality. So I have only, thankfully, explored one side of the bike's personality, and that's the docile side. It's a beautiful bike. Well, despite the flaws, it is quite a beautiful bike overall, especially from a distance. It sounds great. It handles very well. It stops quickly, and it accelerates quickly. And it's, all in all, it's extremely smooth. So it's easy to ride. It's easy to push hard. Not hard, but it's easy to push. And it's easy to just do what I want to do on the bike. Now, the other side of the personality, the other side of this bike's personality is that of a hardline racing machine. It is like a snake, just coming out to bite you and just poison you with its venom. And that's what happens when you start twisting the throttle too much or getting on the brakes too hard or too quickly. And I've not really explored that side of the bike. And to be honest, I'm a bit scared of that. So I'm thinking that maybe before I really start going flat out in first gear, pulling stupid wheelies, leaning the bike over and dragging me on the street, and doing stupid stuff like that, basically, I want to get rid of the bike before I start to feel the need to take the track riding which I left behind and bring it onto the street. Because when I ride the bike, I can tell that there's just this latent personality that's there that I can just bring out whenever I want. But if I choose not to, the bike is the opposite. It wants to go slow. You keep the revs down and the bike wants to go slow. You keep the revs down and the bike wants to just chill and go slow. In fact, I've got a BMW R1200 GS that you can see in some of my videos, and I probably on twisty roads ride the BMW a little bit faster because the BMW has better brakes, better suspension that's tuned for my weight, and it has a lot more torque. So even at low RPMs, you give that bike a little bit of throttle and it just goes. Whereas the R6, you kind of have to think about what gear you're in, and you have to be aggressive with the bike to make it go fast. So the bike has this very split personality to it. But that's one of the things I truly love about it. If you're hearing all of this and you're thinking to yourself, that's exactly what I am. Like, I like going fast sometimes, but I like going slow other times. And I'm a mature, responsible adult who can decide for myself when I want to go fast and when I want to go slow, then that's a great bike for you. Also, if you're thinking, I want a bike that I can ride on the track and ride on the street, this is a great bike for you. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want a bike to tear up the streets and do stupid stuff, okay, maybe this is a great bike for you, but at the same time, I don't condone that kind of riding. I mean, you'll see how I ride on my channel. I might go fast sometimes, faster than the speed limit and all that, but I keep things to a level in which the danger is at a reasonable level. Does that make any sense? At least I hope that's what I'm doing. I'm doing my best to follow that rule, so to speak. I mentioned in the other video something that I didn't follow up on, and that was a mistake I made. Did you catch it? Nah, probably not. It was actually very simple mistake, a mistake that everyone makes, and that was taking the inside line around the blind turn. I went outside, inside, outside around the blind turn. And as soon as I went inside to the inside of the turn, a car was coming the other way on the outside lane, almost on the double yellow line. And I had a little bit of a, oh crap moment. Not oh crap, but I had a little bit of a, oh man, good thing he stayed on his side of the road moment. If he had come on into his lane, I would have had to make an emergency swerve while I was leaned over. Leaned over to the left and an emergency swerve to the right. And that would have been, a huge pucker factor moment for me. So I call that a pretty big mistake. And I think I attribute that to lack of following through on my riding. I've been out of the country. It's been winter. And I just haven't been practicing the way I need to on my line selection. To me, vision and line selection are the keys to riding these bikes, especially in R6. When you get out there in the real world and you start riding this bike, you need to always remember, keep your head and your eyes up, point your chin where you want to go, open up your shoulders, and really use your vision effectively, not just your eyes, but your whole head, so that your peripheral vision is also expanded along and follows the direction that you need to go. The other thing is that you want to take in mind when you ride a bike like this for a long time, if you just borrow a friend's bike or ride it a few times, okay, that's all well and good, but when you start really exploring a motorcycle like this, you got to always remember to twist that throttle smoothly. Not just on, but off. Don't just let the throttle go and snap forward, especially in first and second gear, because that's going to snap the bike forward. And if you just let go of the throttle and grab the brakes, you're going to lock the front tire. There is no ABS. You're going to lock the front tire. You're going to crash. End of story. So always be mindful of that. Another thing to be mindful of, and it's a reason I crashed. I'll give the two reasons I crashed. The first crash I had on the R6 was a low side on the right, because I was going to make a U-turn, basically a right turn onto a gravel road and U-turn around on the gravel road. And I was going in a little hot and I was a little hard on the brakes, and as soon as I hit that gravel, it was game over. I had no chance. There was no saving that motorcycle. The second crash was around the roundabout. And I went right in the roundabout, and then I went left. So actually, now that I think about it, I'm sorry, I have crashed this bike on both sides. Excuse me. I was wrong in the previous video. I went right around the roundabout, and then I went left. And as soon as I went left, I gave it some throttle. And I committed the cardinal sin, which I didn't really understand at the time, but that's increasing throttle and lean angle. I've been told not to do that, but I'd never seen personally the very real and very immediate effects of increasing throttle and lean angle, which is just the bike completely slides away from you instantly and you're gone. You're just gone. Thankfully, both of these times I was wearing full gear. I had the frame sliders on the bike. I was going below 20 miles an hour both times. I didn't slide into any curbs. I didn't hit anything. I didn't get hit by a car. Everything worked out and I was completely fine, and the bike was, I would say the bike was pretty much fine. A little bit of scrapes and a little bit of rash on the frame sliders. So I think at this point you can see my philosophy. The final thing I'm going to say is another one of the reasons, maybe what I'm going to do with the money. One of the reasons I want to get rid of a bike in my garage is I have a number of bikes and my garage is full. I have a single car garage and it is just full, and I can't fit another motorcycle. And luckily for me, I have a significant other that hopefully will be entering my life soon. And I don't want to go into too many details, but when she comes into my life and starts living with me, I want to teach her how to ride a motorcycle. And she's very receptive to this. She wants to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Unfortunately, she's very short. And none of the motorcycles I have are good learner bikes for a short person at all. So the scooter is very heavy and it's actually kind of tall. And I just, it's very pretty. It's never been dropped, and I don't want to teach her on that. I'd rather have her learn, you know, the clutch and the gears and everything too. So I'm thinking about getting a bike along the lines of like a Rebel, or, you know, a Suzuki Cruiser or Yamaha Cruiser, just a small cruiser. Maybe something fuel injected would be nice. But yeah, a small cruiser, like a 250 or 300cc cruiser that's just small, relatively light and easy to handle, you know? Another thing is with the money, I'd like to have a little bit of play money. I don't want to spend money needlessly, so to speak. I have a dirt bike that I want to turn into a supermoto, and exploring that option, I think that spending money I have saved up for other things on that doesn't really fit my budget right now. So getting some extra cash in to convert the bike into a supermoto would be a great use of the money that I would get for the bike. So I think I've explained all the reasons I want to sell it, and I hope that makes sense. I know I'm kind of doing a hard sell on this. It's not... You have to understand, if you're still watching this and you still care, it's not so much that I'm trying to sell you the bike or anyone the bike. It's that I do these videos for myself, and I say this over and over again in my channel. I do these videos for myself so that I can, in the future, watch myself selling you this bike, so to speak, on YouTube. Because if I were to tell you all this in person, one, I don't think we have enough time to talk about it, and two, it's not going to be recorded. So I'm not going to be able to go back and look at my moto history like I'd like to do. This is truly like a diary. I don't think of vlogs. I don't think of my channel like as a vlog, a video log. But I guess that's what it is. I think of it literally as a video log, like a log of my activities with motorcycling and, in fact, maybe performance operation of a vehicle in general. So thank you for watching. And as always, think about your riding.